Well, I have to tell you, these last two questions are really out of bounds. They're socio-political. They're not actually monastic questions. They gave me the name Swami Yogeshananda. It means the bliss of being a master of yoga, which I'm not. But it's hopeful. They want me to be a master of yoga. We are in Ramakrishna Monastery, Trabuco Canyon, California, a monastery which started in 1949 and has been continuous ever since. And I'm here for the second time in my rotation of places. Well, usually the word means a group of people living together, but we have in our order, our monastic order, we have a special definition. Anywhere that a monk is living, or a nun, is a monastery, whether it's anybody else that's there or not. That's a monastery because a monk is living there. That's our definition. A monk, by ordinary understanding, is one who has, quote, renounced the world, whatever that means. It means giving up the desire for progeny, for wealth, for support even, all desires that are considered important to most people, he abandons, or he or she. Because those desires tend to draw the mind into the senses. And we know, before we start monastic life, we have to know that the origin and destiny of a human being is the divine being. And he's going to go there, and he can't go there with attachments. You use it as a place for quiet, solitude at times, or holy company if it's another one, other people. And you use it for prayer and meditation and for what we call karma yoga, the dedication of our work to God. I have worked harder in the monastery in my 70 years in the monastery, harder than any job that I have ever been in or any job I would expect to be in. This is full-time work. In a place like this, which is out in the country, there's gardening, there's cooking, there's cleaning, there's receiving of guests and all that. There's building, usually building, and emptying the garbage and all the other things that people have to do in their homes. One is to make periodic retreats if they're offered by the institution, and we offer that for men, and our convent offers it for women, that you can come and spend a few days, maybe up to a week, just exploring the values and benefits that the monastery offers. And you have time to be quiet, to get apart and think, to pray, to meditate, to get spiritual advice from the seniors. And by coming to lectures, where we give public lectures, And people can come to the lectures and classes that we give to the public and benefit by those. And they can also buy books on spiritual life and take them home and read them. There is nothing whatsoever to prevent a family from making their own family shrine. It can be done. Where family gather, say the husband and wife in the morning, gather there for meditation before they go to work. Solitude is a problem. Many of our monks in India think that they want to go out for solitude. It often means that they can't find a way to get along with their fellow monks. And they have to find a way to be spiritual and be alone. Such people usually are not ready for solitude. And after a very short time, or after a little longer time, they give it up, they come back, or they go away. This has been our experience. To be really ready for a life of solitude, one should consult the superior of the monastery and ask him if he thinks that I'm ready to go out by myself. If he gives permission and says, yes, you can do that, you're ready for it, you can be alone, you won't go off your nut, you'll go crazy. Then you can go. Then you go. But usually not more than for 6 months or so. See, solitude imposes a great psychological, as you know, solitary confinement. Why is it a punishment to have solitary confinement in a jail? Well, obviously, you're deprived of human company. You have to be pretty darn independent to want to be deprived of human company. Spiritual strength, I suppose. They become even more independent of human contact, of worldly things, movies, television, or computers, and all of the things that the world provides. Their desires for such things, they either overcome or their desire overcomes them. Bishop Desmond Tutu of South Africa, the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, the luminaries of our order, the bright people of our order, Sri Ramakrishna legacy, the Swamis that are running our monastic order, the ones that are posted here in America as teachers. Well, and now I have to tell you a little story. I found my teacher in the city of Philadelphia, and I was very surprised to see that he was living in a small apartment, rented apartment. Devotees that means those who are devoted to him, had rented the apartment for him. They were supplying him with cooked food and things to cook, and all that he needed in the way of money or clothing, and he had nothing. He had no money, he had no property, he had no wife, he had no children. He had nothing to tie him or bind him to the world. I saw that. And I said to myself after some time, maybe I met him about 3 or 4 times before I said this, I said, I want to be like him. I want to be as free as he is. And so I want to take up the kind of life he lives. Well, I had already been practicing spiritual life. I came to it through the Christian mystics. Saint Teresa of Avila and John of the Cross, Meister Eckhart, and Brother Lawrence, and the Way of the Pilgrim, the Russian Pilgrim. Yeah. Well, I would, that's a little broader than I had been thinking about. Well, I think in going to a monastery, you opt out of any system. I know you won't think that because you see it as part of a larger system. But in our way of thinking in Vedanta, the alone, it's the flight of the alone to the alone. You just are leaving what society calls its parameters and its necessities and duties and so on. And you're going out alone, as it were. You really are alone. The fact that you have to live somewhere is a concession to society, and you have a surrounding, you have an abbot and so on, maybe a fellow parishioner, fellow monks. But just the same, it is really a departure from the milieu of common man, society. So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put them in two different parts of a society. If you really enter into monastic life and pursue it to its goal, you are leaving the boundaries of a social compact. You don't belong to even to the monastery. You hope to transcend the monastery. You're not going to live there all your life, perhaps. Swami Yogeshananda was famous for having said, society has to pay homage to truth. Truth does not pay homage to society. Take the Buddhists. They don't believe in a God, the original Theravadins. They don't believe in a God. They believe in liberation from this bondage of Maya. They talk about Maya. And yet they form a monastery. They form monasteries to facilitate the kind of life that they want to live while struggling for that goal, the appearance of something real. Oh, I get behind your question. Why do you care whether such people understand monastic life or not? Once you have decided this world is unreal, and I know it to be unreal, and I want to find the reality, I don't come back to it unless I have found it to be real. If I find the real, and the real tells me, all right, you go back and pick up where you left off, because those things are real too, then I'll go and do that. But I haven't been told that yet.